And for some reason, when we get into real estate, there's this part of our brain, I feel like, that turns off, where it's like we turn off the human side and now we're trying to become these real estate robots. And nobody wants to do that. So show up as a human and start building the relationships. And that is going to be a really big shift for you. That is going to be something that's an organic relationship builder and connector for you in these local Facebook groups. Welcome back to the Modern Real Estate Mama podcast, a business and marketing podcast for moms in real estate that want to ditch the cold calling and door knocking and use content marketing strategies to grow their real estate business and grow a life and business on their terms while also raising their families. I'm your host, Braden McKee. I have been a full-time real estate agent for the last 7.5 years, and now I'm teaching you content marketing strategies to help you grow your real estate business while also managing your home, managing raising your kids, and growing your family, creating a freedom-based business on your terms. Today, we are going to be talking all things Facebook groups and my top 3 tips to consider before you join Facebook groups and before you start your own Facebook group as a marketing strategy. So we're really going to go into the mindset of what I know that you need to be considering before you start trying to use a Facebook group marketing strategy in your business, and hopefully helping you avoid some of the mistakes that I made at the very beginning of using Facebook groups myself and in my business. Now, if you want a more in-depth training, I'm doing a video training via Zoom. There will be a replay on Thursday of this week with my top 3 tips to creating more local connections using Facebook groups. So if you want to get in on that training, it's going to be in the show notes or the description of this podcast episode, depending on where you're listening from. So if you're in Apple, it's going to be in the show notes. If you are on Spotify, it'll be in the description. But if you are already saying, you know what, I already know I'm going to be starting my own Facebook group, or I want to start my own Facebook group and I've been procrastinating, I am going to be hosting another round of my 4-week group training program to help you start, optimize, and grow your local Facebook group to create more relationships and connections in your local community and create a branding and community-centered piece of your content marketing strategy to nurture more relationships. So if you're ready to learn about that, that link is also going to be in the show notes or the description. And this is going to be the last time I'm hosting this 4-week training at the price of $47. Next time I host this training, it is going to be going up. And I just want to make sure that you know that, because I'd rather you get in on the pricing this time. If you are already telling yourself you know that you want to start and grow your own Facebook group. So I'll be teaching you how to set up and optimize your Facebook group to be found in search, how to create engagement, and how that engagement is going to help you grow your Facebook group along with some other growth strategies. And then I'm going to teach you how to brand it and create a steady stream of connections and conversations, and how to even pull emails and get people to give you their email both at the time they join the Facebook group and also once you already have them in the group. If they didn't give you their email up front, how you can get emails down the road. So if you are going to be starting your own Facebook group, you know you want to, or you already have one and it's kind of dead, not really doing anything for you, make sure you join that 4-week training. We are going to be starting that in the middle of March. All right, so let's talk about Facebook groups. I have grown several Facebook groups for different reasons and have made some mistakes, learned a lot of things along the way, and I want to talk to you about the mindset and some tips to help you better utilize Facebook groups and create networking and just connection overall for you and your business. So the very first thing I want to talk about is showing up as a human. Now, this is where I think a lot of people get it wrong. And I want to say that I also got this wrong in the very beginning when I started using Facebook groups. I had grown a pretty successful, very highly engaged Facebook group here in my local community for dog moms. And I actually had started getting business from it. And what that did was it kind of led me to go down this path where I started exploring, should I really be diving into Facebook groups more and trying to double down on this business? So I started looking at getting mentorship and advice from other people in the industry. And I was getting pressure from this course that I had taken and my team about showing up in my Facebook group a certain way and trying to get more business from it. The biggest problem, though, was that my intention when I started the Facebook group wasn't necessarily to show up in the way that I was being taught. And I was really struggling with how to show up in a way that was authentic to me and didn't make me feel that like slimy salesperson kind of way, but also to take advantage of all the hard work I had put into the community building. And could it be something that could be a lead generator for my business? Now, the thing is when I first got my couple of deals from my Facebook group, these were people that had come directly to me and they had just known about me from the Facebook group because I was engaged, I was the leader of the group, I had started it from the ground up, and they just knew who I was and they ended up knowing what I did, and they came to me and said, hey, I want to buy a house, or the couple of referrals that I got, as people that used me, and then they said, hey, I want to refer you to my family member, a friend. And so here we are, right? I'm thinking, how do I double down on this? This seems like a viable way to grow my business. And one of the members of our Facebook group and community, her name is Chelsea Harold. If you guys don't know her, check her out. She's out of Denver, Colorado. She's awesome. We had actually met up for coffee while she was in town, and I had asked her, like, how are you getting leads from your group? Like, how are you advertising to them? And she's like, I'm not advertising to them. And she basically gave me the advice that I need to show up as a human. And you know what? She was 100% right. There was a reason when I started taking the course from the other person in real estate, and I was getting advice from other people in real estate. There's a reason it stopped working for me, and that was because it didn't align with my approach to the group. It didn't align with my strategy for the group. And so that is where I want you to first, before you do anything with Facebook groups, is just to show up as a human. What does this look like? Have conversations with people in the groups, whether it's your own group or it's somebody else's group. You join that group for a reason. Have conversations, ask questions, answer questions, comment, engage with people in the way that a regular human would be. One of the biggest things about the real estate industry is the relationships that you build, right? Being a human is what builds relationships. And for some reason, when we get into real estate, there's this part of our brain, I feel like, that turns off, where it's like we turn off the human side and now we're trying to become these real estate robots, and nobody wants to do that. So show up as a human and start building the relationships. And that is going to be a really big shift for you. That is going to be something that's an organic relationship builder and connector for you in these local Facebook groups. Okay, so that's the first thing, is show up as a human, turn off your real estate robot part of your brain for 2 seconds, and just have the conversations, whether it's a mom's group you're in, a local group, show up as you would be. And I think this also helps to bring you to your people. In my local dog moms group, not every single person in that group would be an ideal client for me. Some of us, our personalities don't match, they don't connect, right? And so that wouldn't be good for me to try to be showing up in a way to get them as a client when we're not going to be a good working fit, right? And so that's some of the things that you just need to consider. Now, the next thing that you need to do if you're going to approach Facebook groups and look at Facebook group marketing as something that you take on and put in your business is you need to create content. This is especially true when you're talking about real estate and Not everybody is buying and selling a home all the time. We know this. We know that if you're in residential real estate, people are buying a home on average between every 7 to 10 years. It's not something they're thinking about 24/7 like we are as agents, right? And so here is what I would recommend. You are most likely already creating content about your local community, right? And this is the stuff a lot of people want to know about, whether they just want to know what's going on in the community and what's happening, or they want to know about they want to know about specific topics. You're probably already creating local content. And if you're not, you absolutely should be as a real estate agent, because local content is a really good way to connect you with people in your community that care about the community. They care about what's going on, but they may not be thinking about buying or selling right now. And so you have something else to attract them with that kind of content, rather than putting everything about buying, selling, and investing, right? So creating local content, whether it's for your own group or other groups. Now, sometimes this doesn't even have to be anything like really complicated. If you're thinking about, okay, does this mean I have to go out and tour all these local places all the time? No, you could like literally screenshot something from a news article. You could take a quick picture when you're out and about and kind of save those in a camera roll or in a folder from your camera roll. Or you can even just ask a question or post a topic like, hey, have you seen this location, they're putting something new in, but maybe it hasn't been announced. Like, what do you want to see in there? Or like, what would you love if there was no problem and there was no objection to getting this kind of business or this kind of spot in the community? What would you want to see come into the community next, right? Things that people care about. If you're in a niche group and it's an interest group like my dog mom's group, posting a question or a topic that people can easily respond to related to that niche, whether you're asking for help or advice, or you're just like, hey, let me see pictures of your dog, or like, what are the styles for toddler girls this spring season of 2024, right? Something that's easy for people that they want to like contribute, they want to help. Sometimes creating content in these groups is as simple as asking a question, right? Okay, the 80-20 rule. This is the third thing I want you to take away from this episode today. 80% of your content should just be regular, everyday, local content and conversations. And 20% of your content should be authority content, which means, again, let's go back to the very first rule, show up as a human. We're turning off that real estate robot part of our brain, and we're not making everything in the group about real estate. Unless your group is about real estate itself, and you're not appealing to like the everyday homeowner and, future buyer or future seller, maybe you could get away with it, but only about 20% of your content should be coming from the perspective of like an authority in the real estate space. You don't want to make everything about that, and you don't want to have that be the focus of your group or the content you're creating. And you especially don't want this to be the focus in other groups unless you have some kind of guest spot for advertising or something, because it's a great way to get kicked out of other local Facebook groups. So you want to be really careful, because you want to be adding value and having conversations and getting your name out there. Getting your name out there doesn't always mean you have to say, hey, for example, like I'm commenting on a post in a Facebook group. I don't have to always say, hey, my name is Braden McKee and I'm a residential real estate in Peoria and Surprise, Arizona. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, please reach out to me. It doesn't have to be that. If I'm connecting with somebody and I'm engaging in a local Facebook group or my own local Facebook group and I'm having a conversation, that could potentially turn into a DM conversation. It could be that person wants to add me on Facebook, and then they go, and if you're Facebook profiles optimized, they're gonna see that you're a real estate agent. Or maybe they're like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go see if this person's on Instagram. They look you up. Oh, you're on Instagram. There's your real estate information. And they can see that you're a real estate agent. But hey, they've also already connected with you in this local Facebook group. And now you've created a connection and a relationship. And it's not about real estate, because the real estate portion of it is going to be so small, such a small piece of the relationship you have with them in the overall scheme of things. So if real estate is the only thing you have to offer, you're missing out on so many people, because they are only going to be in that real estate segment a small portion of the time. So you need to create that connection and the relationship with them to have a sustainable long-term strategy and be able to build those long-term relationships and connections over time. And especially with your local community, right? You don't want to put yourself in the position where you're coming off as only caring about real estate and people buying or selling with you, because then you also just don't get the advantage of having those connections and those relationships in your community. As people, we are people, not just real estate agents, right? We want those connections. We want the relationships. We want to really connect with people and be able to have conversations and be poured into, as well as us pouring into others. That's just how community works. And so that is why I think that Facebook groups are so awesome, is because you get to connect with people, whether it's you're connected by a local area, you're connected by an interest or a niche, or maybe you're connected by a specific community in a neighborhood or community group, right? And those connections are something that can last a lifetime, or in a season where you both really need a friendship and they spark from a conversation about, whatever it might be. You never know. And those connections are so valuable. Aside from just your career and needing to grow your database and grow your connections, is you just need that on a personal human level as well, right? But business, obviously, the more people that know you, the more people that know who you are, they know your name, they know what you do, and they like you, the more they're going to want to work with you if they end up having a real estate need, or if they know somebody who has a real estate need, and now you are the one that comes to top of mind because you have the strongest relationship with them, and they know that you care about them, you care about the community, you care about that interest group or that community group, right? More than just that you care about the real estate transaction. So that is my top 3 tips for you to consider. It is, should you be considering using Facebook groups? Can you meet those 3 rules? Number 1, showing up as a human. Number 2, creating content and creating conversations. And then number 3 is the 80-20 rule. I want to know if this episode was helpful for you. Do you have a current Facebook group? Do you struggle to use Facebook groups effectively? Or do you want to start your own Facebook group or revive an old Facebook group and you're not really sure what to do? If any of those are a yes, I want you to join the free training on Thursday. Go ahead, check out the show notes and the description, and go ahead and sign up for that, because there will be a replay available to anybody who signs up. And of course, if you're ready to start and grow your own Facebook group where you have a little bit more control, you can cultivate the kind of community that you want to see, or you want to revive an old group that you started but you haven't really been able to stay consistent with, or it hasn't grown like you want it to, make sure to join the March session of Facebook groups for real estate agents. This is going to be the 4-week live coaching with replays available training to help you start, set up, optimize your Facebook group, create engaging content and conversations, how to grow your email list, and of course, brand it so that you can help have it as an asset for your real estate business. So all of that information is going to be down in the description or the show notes of whatever platform you're listening on. Now, if you haven't, please go ahead and screenshot this, share this on your Instagram stories, and tag us. Let us know your biggest takeaway from the episode today. I'd love to hear it. And of course, I want to support you in your real estate journey. So if you are not already, join our Facebook group. It's the Modern Real Estate Mama Facebook group, and that is a free community to join. We have just past 800 members in the group, and we're just over 800 on our Instagram page. So we have a growing community of so many amazing mamas in the real estate space that are looking to grow, engage, create relationships, and also referral opportunities for you. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you on next week's episode of the Modern Real Estate Mama podcast.